Hey everyone, Alex Catchy Fans coming at you guys with another video. Today is going to be a video discussing a topic in correlation to Ultraman Z or Ultraman Zett if you haven't already been able to decipher that judging from the title of this video. But this video ironically pertains to a certain issue that I've noticed. And within the Ultraman community, I noticed that there have already been a number of fans who have complained before any sort of trailer or actual episode has actually come out for this upcoming series. And the reason for this is not because of Zett or the main character himself, not because of the design or the name, but it's because of another Ultra that starts with a Z. You may have guessed it by now, it's Ultraman Zero. And the biggest issue that a lot of Ultraman fans who may not be from Japan may have is that Ultraman Zero has appeared consistently throughout so many Ultraman media-related materials that generally a lot of fans in the Western audience, as well as other fans in other countries, are generally getting sick and tired of just seeing Ultraman Zero. In fact, if you were to take a look at some of my Ultraman-related videos where I have other people discuss certain matters, you could definitely tell that Ultraman Zero is the target of many complaints. One of the examples that comes to my mind at the moment was when I did a review on Ultraman Orb the movie, and ADF Stuff, who is an Ultraman fan from the UK, he previously bashed on Ultraman Zero for once again appearing in that movie. But since the Ultraman Orb movie, not only has Ultraman Zero appeared in several movies, Ultraman Geed included, but he's also appeared in Ultraman Geed, the series that came right after Ultraman Orb and was a prominent character throughout that series. Now, in my honest opinion, I'm just going to give my 2 cents in. This may get a little bit biased, but because of the fact that human beings are subjective creatures, and let's be honest, when you're in a fan base, there's not always room for just pure facts and information. Sometimes you have to give your own personal intake. Then sometimes you just have to go with emotion over logic and reasoning. But that's not to say that we can't incorporate those elements in this video. So, in my honest opinion, this is just my opinion, Ultraman Geed was lifted miles up because of Ultraman Zero. Now, I know people are probably thinking, wait a minute, are you insane, Alex? Ultraman Zero is an overly used Ultraman character, and that may be true, but the dynamic that Ultraman Zero had with Lido was what, in my opinion, gave Ultraman Zero more of a drive, more of a motivation to defend the world. If you take a look to Ultraman Zero's first appearance in his movie, Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Legend the movie, we could definitely see that Ultraman Zero is just generally told to fight against Belial because Belial's the big bad villain. Sure, he learns lessons with the Pigmon in Ultraman Leo, but that doesn't really serve as the catalyst for his entire ideological struggle against Ultraman Belial. And his other human host, ironically Taiga, was one of his most recent hosts in Ultraman Saga. These characters generally lack any form of motivation. But with a character such as Lido, who has a family to protect, and has overall a nice character dynamic with Ultraman Zero, I ultimately thought that Lido/Zero were the best parts about Ultraman Geed. Now, a lot of people wonder, why is it that Ultraman Zero is constantly brought back in all these Ultraman-related shows? And the reason for this is just because Ultraman Zero is really marketable. Kids in Japan just probably really like Ultraman Zero. And as soon as they introduce Ultraman Zero, it makes the ratings go up even faster. Now, you may be thinking, well, what's the cost of that? I would say that there's more of a net benefit to having Ultraman Zero in your show versus a net detriment. And what that basically means is that Super Ride Productions is able to increase their annual revenue as well as increase sales for their products and merchandising by having Ultraman Zero, because Ultraman Zero, as of you think right now, as of this year, is a character that you could have potentially grown up with. If you were born in Japan or a little kid in Japan when Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Legends, the movie, came out, that was back in 2010, I believe, and this year, 2020, is the anniversary for this movie. 2009, 2010, The Revenge of Belial as well, Ultraman Saga 2012. What we could basically see is that we are in a time of brand new new generation of Ultraman fans who have the ability to grow up with Ultraman Zero from the very beginning and probably serve as their gateway into the Ultraman franchise. So why would Super Right Productions let go of such a character? Now you may be thinking, well, that's me, that's all dandy and all, but I'm tired of seeing Ultraman Zero. And I understand your sentiment, but you have to understand that Ultraman Zero is just generally so marketable. So until Ultraman Zero absolutely fails to gain revenue for Super Right Productions, we may consistently see Ultraman Zero. And my question to those who don't like Ultraman Zero is, what's really wrong with Ultraman Zero? It's not necessarily that he's badly written as a character. If anything, I would say that Ultraman Zero has had some of the greatest evolution as an Ultraman in general. We could generally see in a lot of the Ultraman shows is that Ultraman and his other related entities are born good. They're pure of heart from the very beginning. They have no real journey, struggle to really question their morals or their values. Whereas with Ultraman Zero, he was in a conflict of interest with the Ultra Brothers from the very beginning, and that served as the reason why he was exiled. This gave him motivation. This served as the catalyst for his eventual ideological struggle with Ultraman Bellio, who also had a parallel narrative in the same movie. Which is why, in my opinion, Ultraman Zero is one of the most fantastically written Ultraman characters. Despite the fact that you may think he's overpowered, and I do understand that, he is very powerful, consistently gaining new forms. I honestly thought Shining Zero was gonna be the most powerful form, even surpassing the ultimate mode that he had gained from Ultraman Noah. But as of Ultraman Geed, he gained another form, Zero Beyond. And you may think it's absolutely ridiculous, but Zero may get these forms, but something that you've never stopped to ask yourself is, are these forms rewarded? Are they earned? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is yes. Ultraman Zero doesn't just have these forms prematurely. He has to go to trial and error to earn these forms. And what we could see in all of Ultraman Zero's appearances, that he may be a little bit arrogant, but along his battles, he has been humbled. See, that's the thing that I really like about Ultraman Zero, is that he starts off as really arrogant, really cocky, and really individualistic about himself. But after his many trials and errors, he still has a great amount of confidence, but he's been humbled because of some of his losses. And that's why, in my honest opinion, Ultraman Zero is such a dynamically written character, and absolutely fantastic. Ultraman Zero is still not necessarily in he might be in my top 10 favorite Ultraman characters, but he's not in my top 3. I would say maybe he might be in my top 6, but I still think that Ultraman Zero is one of the greater Ultraman characters. There's ultimately more pros to him than I could say cons. And as Ryan Zeton said, give this series a chance. Now, my biggest problem with Ultraman Zett, or Z, is the fact that Ultraman, the character in this show, is serving as Zero's pupil. And I thought we already kind of got that dynamic in Ultraman Geed. I honestly thought that dynamic worked a lot better in Geed, just from a conceptual standpoint. I can't necessarily compare the two because, of course, Ultraman Z hasn't come out yet, but from a conceptual basis, I would say that it worked better in Ultraman Geed. And the reason for this is because the whole narrative around Ultraman Geed was that Ultraman Bellio is the arch nemesis of Ultraman Zero. That's literally what the promotional material says. He's Zero's arch nemesis. And now Zero finds himself in a position where he has to confront his rival, but he also has to be under the tutelage of his own son, Ultraman Geed, and has to train him to become a strong Ultra Warrior, just as he did, while still refining his skills and unlocking a brand new form, Zero Beyond. But in this series, we just find out that Zero has a new pupil, but that's it. There's no greater dynamic. There's no great cohesive coercion to create any sort of tension. And so that is why, in my opinion, conceptually, Ultraman Geed worked better as the tutor storyline. but we're getting a sort of semi-repeat, I would say, in Ultraman Z, but I'm not necessarily going to put my cards against the series. I'm still going to look out for the series, and when the trailers come out and the TV spots, I'm pretty sure people are going to fall back in line and become excited because they're probably going to see a monster that they really want to see return come back. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. What are your guys' thoughts on Ultraman Zero or Ultraman Zett? Are you excited? Are you angry? Are you disappointed? Let me know your reasons why, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.